Before this picks against the spread video gets started, I just got the news from my son, and then I saw it confirmed on Facebook and everything. I haven't even seen it announced on this football game I'm watching here yet that Trevor Lawrence has the COVID-19 and will miss the game against Boston College this coming Saturday. Now, make no bones about it, guys. I can't stand Clemson. Big, huge Gamecock fan. I hate everything orange. It's just one football team that I cannot stand more than anything in the world. But I will tell you this. I'm actually a fan of Lawrence. I think that he's a good young man and an excellent football player. And I would surely hate to see anything bad happen to him or, for that matter, any other kid who plays this game or coach or anybody else associated with it, the game that I love and that we all love. So, pray for him. I'm sure that he'll be okay, but you never know. You never know what kind of obstacles that he might face with this sickness. So just be thinking about him, keep him in your thoughts and prayers, and hope that he pulls through and that everything is just fine with him. Now, on to the picks against the spread. What's up, guys? Carolina Jackpot coming at you. It is Thursday evening, and a couple more nights here in Daytona Beach, Florida. Man, it's been nice down here this week. The weather could not have been better. It's been hot, but not too hot. No storms. I've not seen any rain since I've been here, and that's always a good thing. So it's about 7 o'clock, so let's start with this week's slate of college football games, picks against the spread, because we got a Thursday night game on here. South Alabama going on the road at Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern is a 4-point home favorite in this one. And we like the Georgia Southern Eagles in this spot to cover that 4-point number. I just think they're a better football team overall than South Alabama. They have had some COVID issues to deal with. I think most of that's behind them now. Only 5 days rest, I think, coming off of a loss on the road at Coastal Carolina. Don't really know that that'll play a factor here. We look for Georgia Southern to be able to run the ball against South Alabama in this spot and get a win at home. On the way down here, actually went the long way from Greenville, South Carolina to Daytona Beach, Florida through, I guess you'd call it the south eastern part of Georgia. We actually went through Statesboro, Georgia, and I rode by Paulson Stadium, which is where this game will be played at tonight. It's the first time they've played on primetime ESPN since 1989. First time that's been on, or first time that ESPN has been primetime, has been to that stadium since 1989 when they played for the 1AA National Championship there. So, fun little fact. But let me take Georgia Southern at 4 points in that one. Friday night game, Big Ten Showdown. Minnesota goes on the road to Maryland. Maryland is catching 20 at home. Minnesota coming off of a loss, 49-24 to Michigan at home. This past Saturday night, I kind of got ambushed a little bit. I don't think they were expecting what they got from Michigan. I certainly wasn't. Got that pick wrong. Looking at this game, Maryland just got absolutely destroyed last week by Northwestern, which is an improved team. Maryland's just their coaching staff, and that's a hot mess. They really are. Minnesota shot themselves in the foot in that game a few times too. Not being able to convert in the red zone and some stuff like that. And I honestly think they're definitely 20 points better than Maryland. Sometimes I like to go with the road underdog. One's a big underdog, especially Thursday and Friday nights. If there's value to it, I don't think there's any value to this one. Give me Minnesota to cover there against Maryland. Next, we're talking Boston College at Clemson. This begins the slate of Saturday games. As of right now, Boston College is catching 32 on the highway against Clemson. Could be a little bit of a look-ahead spot for Clemson. You know, they got Notre Dame next week. If they get ahead in this game early by a couple or 3 touchdowns, you could see them start to pull some of the starters and save them from injury and whatnot. So they'll be ready for Notre Dame. Also, BC, that head coach, Jeff Hafley, was a D coordinator for Ohio State last year. So I'm sure he's leaned on some of his friends back at OSU. Get some, find out a little tricks. I mean, something that they can find out that may work against Clemson. That was a game. Ohio State had that one in the bag, really, in my opinion. Should have won that game. But anyway, not rehash that old stuff. I think that, once Clemson gets ahead, starts pulling out some defensive, some key players, starts pulling out some of those offensive guys, where the offensive production is not what it was, I think we could see BC maybe slip in and get a backdoor cover. No bones about it here. Clemson's going to win this game easily as they continue to roll through the schedule. But I like Boston College in this spot to cover on the road. They normally will give Clemson a pretty tough test. Last year was kind of an outlier. Last year was an outlier. That was a tough one at home for them. They lost 55-7, I think it was. You don't normally see that kind of performance from them. They do have a decent passing attack now, so give me BC. Coastal Carolina, ranked at number 20 right now, on the road at Georgia State. As of this one, Georgia State was catching 2.5 at home against Coastal Carolina. Run the ball. That's what we're going to see from Georgia State. We know they can put a lot of points up on the board. I watched them a few weeks ago on Thursday night, and they're a pretty solid team. They will give up some turnovers every now and then, so that'll need to be fixed. But Coastal Carolina, they're sitting there right now at 5-0. And when I look at games like this, I just kind of look at them and say, they're fairly evenly matched as far as talent goes, as far as coaching goes. And where can I get an edge? Well, it's a home game, and Georgia State's a home dog. And do I think Coastal Carolina's going to go undefeated? I don't. I just don't. I don't think that they have what it takes to run through a schedule. No losses. I'm not really sure the situation with the quarterback, McCall. I think he's going to play this weekend. But we saw last weekend when they beat Georgia Southern starter from last year, Fred Payton, played pretty well for them. So I got a capable backup in case McCall's not ready to go. I just think that they'll get their first loss this weekend. I'm going to take Georgia State here to win this one outright at home and cover that 2.5 point spread. It's been a cute little run for Coastal, and with the second best team in South Carolina and all that bullshit. But it's not gonna continue. Look, Georgia State to get this win on their home turf on Saturday. Ole Miss at Vandy. Vandy is catching 16.5 at home. Ole Miss last week played well enough to win, but they didn't. Just couldn't sustain against the Auburn team. It's been the benefit of some lucky calls this year, and I don't really know what to say about that, but I can say I have watched Vandy in person. Well, not in person, I wasn't there, but I was watching on TV. I watched the entire one of their games against South Carolina, and I just saw what our South Carolina offense was able to do to them. Granted, South Carolina's defense, while we have problems, South Carolina defense is better than Ole Miss. However, LSU's defense is not good. Vanderbilt was only able to muster 7 points against them. So I don't know how they're going to score. I really don't. That's another team that I think you could just basically leave them out on the field by themselves And I think it would find them like 10 tries to get into the end zone. I mean, they're just the offense is just abysmal. And they've been off. It's been several weeks since they've played football. So, with that being said, I think Ole Miss wins this game. I think Ole Miss rolls them up, and this one's over pretty soon after it starts. Give me Ole Miss to cover over Vanderbilt. K-State at West Virginia. West Virginia is a 3.5-point favorite at home, and we know why. Because Kansas State's starting quarterback, Skylar Thompson, is done, right? They rolled up to like a 55-14 win last week, although it was against Kansas. Did better against them than West Virginia did. They covered spread. This is a home game for the Mountaineers. It's just one of those funny lines that you're really not. I think that they want you to take. I don't know who they want you to take here. I really don't. It's like they want you to take West Virginia, but I'm not buying this one. I think Kansas State's the better football team. West Virginia has gotten some solid offensive production, but I mean a lot of that has been against Kansas, against what was it, Eastern Kentucky. Some really weak competition there. And when they played Oklahoma State, Oklahoma State, Baylor, kind of struggled a little bit. And I'm just going to side here with the team that I know a little bit more about. 4-1, Kansas State's pretty solid after that upset loss to Arkansas State to start the season out. So give me them to cover right here in this situation. Memphis on the road at Cincinnati, number 7 in the country. Memphis is a 6.5-point favorite at home. Cincinnati is, excuse me. I got on a tangent there. Started watching some of this football game on TV. Cincinnati has just really impressed me so far this year. I mean, that defense has been unbelievable. Held SMU to 13 points last week. Memphis, another team that we know that has an explosive defense as well, or explosive offense as well, excuse me. Can Cincinnati do that for the second week in a row? I think they can. I think there's no flukiness about that defense. And quarterback Desmond Ridder, they kind of go, as Desmond Ridder goes, played pretty well so far this year. And I look for them to remain undefeated here and cover the number against the Memphis team that's been a little bit erratic this year. I mean, they have put a lot of points up on the board, but still, a couple times they haven't covered when you kind of thought they would, and some stuff like that. They did beat UCF, which was a feather in the cap, a good win, but several teams have beaten UCF in the past calendar year. Now, it's not exactly an unaccomplishable feat anymore. So give me Cincinnati, the Bearcats, to win this one. They may only win it by a touchdown, but I think that they get the victory. I think they get it done. They're one of the only teams over in that American Athletic Conference that pretends to want to play defense, and they do it very well. Temple at Tulane. Jackpot, what are you doing with this one on here? Man, I don't know. Tulane's a 4-point home favorite in this one. All the public money pretty much is coming in on Tulane right now. It started out as Tulane is a 2.5-point favorite, and now it's up to 4. Quarterback for Temple, Anthony Russo, is probably not going to play in this game, so that might be the reason for the line shift. But then I went back and I looked at his stats so far this year. He only played 3 games. He's thrown 9 touchdown passes, which is great. Not so great, he's thrown 6 interceptions. So I don't know that him being out is necessarily going to be that much of a detriment to that Temple team. But Tulane at home, I think, probably gets this one and gets the job done. They've looked impressive a couple times this year. The SMU game, which I did lose in overtime, though, hung in there in that one. So give me Tulane here. I think they can put some points on the board and get a conference win at home against Temple. Michigan State goes on the road to Michigan. I apologize for the yellow legal pad, and I don't know how in the world these are all brand new. I bought two packs of two at Dollar General the other day down here in Daytona Beach, and that one has a big hole in it, and I don't know where it came from. So I'm going to move that down because I don't want to stare at that hole too much. It's just weird. We're going to have to stare at it for a minute. Michigan State on the road at Michigan. Anyway, I had to buy the yellow legal pad paper because I didn't have my computer, laptop, and my normal stuff that I did the setup with. They'll be back next week. At Michigan, Michigan State is catching 24 and the hook on the highway against the Wolverines. Michigan State, not a good football team. This is a rivalry game, though. They get kind of heated over this one. They get half hot about it. Michigan State losers last week was 30. 10. I can't even remember what the score was that they lost to Rutgers by. It was like 10 points. 38-28, I think it was. Anyway, they turned the ball over several times in that game. Several times. They turned the ball over there. Michigan State is not as bad as they looked against Rutgers. And 24 and the hook is a lot of points, especially in a rivalry game. I'm going to take the road dog here to cover in this one. I think that if they clean their game up a little bit, that they can keep it under that 24.5. I don't think they're going to win this game. Michigan's just got too much. The kid that played quarterback for them on Saturday night against Minnesota really emerged as a really good player. So I think still the side of the underdog's the one to be on here. I don't think they are as bad as they looked against Rutgers, but I also don't think they're very good, if that makes any sense. Purdue on the road at Illinois. Purdue is a 7-point road favorite here. Illinois, the home dog. Will be no Rondell Moore playing for Purdue. If you go back and look at the stats of that game, they won 24-20 against Iowa this past Saturday. Iowa really dominated them in the box score. Purdue was able to come away with a win. 7 points, however, on the road against Illinois. I watched Illinois last Friday night. Was it last Friday night? Against Wisconsin, and they looked really bad offensively. Defensively, even though Wisconsin did score, I think 45. I think they put up 45 points. I think it was 45-7. You have to fact check me on that one. Their defense was still flying around to the football. They were out of position a lot. They looked like they lacked some of the fundamentals. They did not look like they lacked the toughness or the heart. Their middle linebacker, and I don't know his name, it was number 34. He went out of that game in like the second quarter, never returned, and he looked like he was the heart and soul of that defense, the one that was laying the wood against Wisconsin. And I did not see his name on the injury report, but they look so bad offensively. And this is a toss-up to me. With no Rondell Moore, Purdue coming off of a good win, a solid win against an Iowa team, I could see a little bit of a letdown spot for them here. I could see Illinois kind of rebounding a little bit. I mean, they just got outclassed offensively by just a freakish performance by that Wisconsin quarterback that we don't normally see from Wisconsin. So I'm going to take Illinois here to cover this one. I don't feel good about it. I would stay away from this one, to be quite honest. It's just one of those games that would be a no play for me. But since we're just doing this just for the heck of it, and just to pick games and see who we can get against the spread here, I'll go ahead and side with them. Georgia on the road at Kentucky. Kentucky is catching 15 at home against the Georgia Bulldogs. This is another one that, for me, this is a pretty easy pick here. I'm going to go with Georgia. I'm going to side with them there. They have had an extra, well, not an extra week. They've had a week off to, kind of digest that loss to Alabama. They don't agree with Kirby Smart's decision making at the quarterback position and who he's going to put here and this and that. I still think Kirby's a good head coach. He's brought a toughness to that team that they didn't have before he came there. I think he will get them right. Kentucky, just one of the worst teams in the country offensively. Really, really bad offensively. They just can't get anything going. They were supposed to have a three-headed monster at running back this year. Well, one of the heads of the three-headed monster, Kavasi Smoke, he's been injured. A.J. Rose really hasn't produced we kind of thought he would come into the season. The one that Christopher Rodriguez is really like the third head of the three-headed monster is the one who's had the bulk of the carries this year and just hasn't really worked out all that well. Their quarterback, Terry Wilson, he's probably not going to play in this game. In fact, I don't think he's going to play in this game. I think that he's been ruled out. And they'll be starting Joey Gatewood. Gatewood hasn't played much at all, and when he has played, it hasn't looked very good. The Auburn transfer. So, I don't see Kentucky score. I don't see them maybe getting over 10 points in this ball game. Georgia's offense, while it's not great, I still think that Stetson Bennett going to continue to work on that game, and I think this is a team that he may be able to get some success against. So go on ahead and give me Georgia there, and I'll take those 15 points. UCF on the road at Houston. UCF is 2.5-point favorite on the road against Houston. I like the home dog in this one. I like the home dog. I think the bloom's kind of off the rose for UCF. Kind of been exposed a little bit this year. They lost to Tulsa already, and just not playing real good football right now. So going ahead, give me Houston here to cover that 2.5. I think they get to win at home against Central Florida. Notre Dame coming in at ranked number 4 on the road at Georgia Tech, and the Yellow Jackets are catching 20 at home against the Fighting Irish. This is another kind of a tough one to look at. You saw Notre Dame last week kind of put it together a little bit. They kind of put it together a little bit and got a nice win on the road at Pitt, like 45-3. I mean, it was just a thorough ass-kicking in every sense of the word. That's really the first time that they've done that this year against a team of any substance. They did have a 54-0 win over South Florida, but they're kind of a lower classification school. That's just really not a Power 5 type team. That was their biggest win of the year, coming off the heels of what was it, like a 12-7 win at home against Louisville. So who is Notre Dame? Who are they? We'll definitely find out who they are next week when they play Clemson. They're traveling away from South Bend this is the second week in a row that they've been on the road. Georgia Tech seems to be kind of reeling to me a little bit. They had that huge loss, that 73-7 deal with Clemson a couple weeks ago. Then they lost last week, I think, by 3 touchdowns at Boston College. Just haven't been playing that well of late. 20 points is a lot here to cover. I think Notre Dame will push this one and cover the number here against Georgia Tech. It's not a spot where they can't just say, well, we're going to look ahead, and get caught looking ahead to Clemson here, because they've still got some things to work out. That's their Super Bowl. I mean, Clemson already got it figured out. Okay, they've already got it figured out. They're miles ahead of you. You still got some things that you have to get figured out there as far as that offense goes. So I think Notre Dame, and it's still being a road spot, I think they'll keep the starters in here kind of deep in this one, and they'll roll over Georgia Tech. Fighting Irish at 20 points. LSU on the road at Auburn. Auburn is, as of this filming, catching 3 at home against LSU. This is always a tough, hard-fought matchup. Normally kind of low scoring and always really close. I just look at these two, and not because they beat my Gamecocks down Saturday night. I think LSU is just a better team. I think they're the better team. Probably be going with TJ Finley again at quarterback, and that gives them a different dynamic and something different for Auburn to prepare for. It's not kind of like with the Gamecocks. At least they do have some a little bit of film on the kid. He looked really good the other night. I think LSU may be rebounding and coming back into their own. Auburn comes in here with a 3-2 record. I honestly don't think they're that good. We all know that they've been handed a couple of wins by just the SEC officials, just poor officiating. Went over Arkansas and went over Ole Miss last week. But those games were a lot closer than they should have been on both those teams. They should have been able to win those games by more points anyway, where it wouldn't matter, to be honest with you. But they didn't. Auburn, I played well this year. Haven't gotten a lot of good quarterback play from Bo Nix, and I think LSU is the better side to be on in this one. So I'm rolling with the Bayou Bengals, an old Cajun man down there, to get it done. Indiana, ranked at number 17, the Hoosiers on the road at Rutgers, and Rutgers catching 10.5 at home. This is Greg Schiano's return to whatever it's called, Incision.com Stadium or something like that there in East Piscataway, New Jersey. I've been by there before. I can't remember. Info-Citizen Stadium, I think it's called. Anyway, this is his return to the state of New Jersey in a home game. Indiana last week, nice win over a Penn State team. But don't let that fool you. They were outgained more than double by Penn State in that game. Penn State shot themselves in the foot, poor decision making, some untimely turnovers there that cost them dearly in that game. This is a home underdog situation for Rutgers. Double-digit home dogs. I like that. I think this is a barking dog. I think Schiano and company will definitely come in here looking to get another big win in Big Ten play. Like we talked about last week, you could kind of make the argument maybe they're not that good. That 38, it was 38-27. They beat Michigan State was what the score was. I was trying to figure out a while ago. Michigan State had a ton of turnovers, so you could say, well, Rutgers really took advantage of that. I still think the home dog here is the side to be on in this one. I just think that he, along with he's had a lot of transfers in, I think he's just going to improve this program exponentially, just exponentially. That I was watching one of my favorite YouTubers. I kind of watch some of these guys every so often. I'm going to get off a little tangent here real quick. Called Pissed Off Vols Fan. He's a pretty good guy. Y'all should go check that channel out. It's called Pissed Off Vols Fan. And he made a video the other day. They're always talking about this Garantano quarterback situation at Tennessee. Guy sucks, okay? He sucks. Now, my Gamecocks couldn't take advantage of his suckitude, but he sucks. And they want him out of that position, but they don't have anybody developed right now to take his position, even though they got like one kid that's like either a 4 or 5 star on the roster right now that's just sitting. For whatever reason, they won't play him. And, Greg Schiano had taken the head coaching job a few years ago at Tennessee, and the fans up there bitched and raised holy hell, and were burning shit out in the streets because they didn't want him for a football coach because 100 years ago he was at Penn State, and he was in there with Jerry Sandusky and all this crap, and they didn't want somebody like that touching their sacred football program, so they didn't want him as a coach. So ultimately, I guess they whatever they do, they pulled the contract or the offer from him, and they end up getting on with Jeremy Pruitt ends up like the 20th choice for the job. And pissed off Vols fan was talking about how I would never take Greg Schiano as coach. I wouldn't want him as my coach, and blah blah. That's bullshit, sir. That is bullshit. If you can put him, if you surveyed 200 college football fans across the country from different geographical areas of the country and asked them, put these two side by side, kind of like they did with Coke and Pepsi, a taste test, which one, Greg Schiano or Jeremy Pruitt? Schiano would win 75% of the time. I mean, it's just a no-brainer. That's crazy. Anyway, getting back to regular scheduled viewing here. Texas on the road at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State is laying 3.5 in Stillwater. Yes, I think Oklahoma State is for real. I like their defense. Problem is, this is the Big 12, and these type games always seem to come down to the wire. They seem to come down to something crazy happening, and I think Texas is finally starting to show some signs of, being the decent team that we thought they were going to be before the season started. They won last week. It was a 27-16, I think, over Baylor. I think I'm right in saying that. However, they were ahead like 27-3 at one point in that game. It was really a blowout. Kind of let Baylor kind of get some backdoor points there on them. But Texas and Sam Ehlinger, I think is going to make a little bit of a statement here. Oklahoma State, nope, you're not ready to run the Big 12, not just yet. That defense is solid. I think we're not going to see as many points put on the scoreboard here as we normally would in this game. But I'm going to take Texas, jump out here on a limb, and take the Longhorns to cover on the road in Stillwater and pick up an upset. Mississippi State at Alabama. Alabama's a 3-1-point home favorite in this one. Look, I mean, they're going to crush Mississippi State. I mean, now not only has Mississippi State been playing bad ever since that opening week win over LSU, now Colin Hill has just quit the team. He just quit the team, and he's going to go on ahead and get ready for the NFL. I had a video about him out a few months ago, and it was really unpopular, and I got a lot of people with the thumbs down on that one, because I just made it known that, I understand where Colin Hill was coming from when he wanted to use his platform about getting that a flag that he viewed as racist come down from the State House and the state flag of Mississippi. Okay, well, guess what? They changed the state flag. It came down. And now he still quits the football team. And why does he quit the football team? Because they sucked. Because they're not good. They're not good. So he just goes on ahead and quits. So, to me, I mean, he's just, he's trash. I'm sorry. You can agree with me on that one if you'd like. If not, I really don't care. He's just not a good human being, in my opinion. You're going to quit on your team like that when the chips are down. All of us have wanted to quit at one time or another, but he already wanted to quit one time because of the flag. He wanted to quit because of the flag. They fixed the flag, and now he quits because the team's just not any good. And to me, that's just garbage. Arkansas on the road at Texas A&M. Texas A&M is laying 12 here at home against Arkansas. These games have been tight. Games have been tight over the years, and this has been a situation where Arkansas has played well. They played some of their better football in the last few years against Texas A&M. I think like a 7-point loss last year, and this is when Arkansas was winning no SEC games whatsoever. And now they've got a couple wins under their belt here, and Texas A&M, I still don't know what they are. I don't know what they are yet. I mean, that win over Florida was impressive, but I'm still just not sold on them. Guys, we know they're going to fall apart. We just know they are. It happens every year. It happens every year. They'll start off hot, and then they fall apart. It doesn't matter if it's Slocum. It didn't matter if it was Kevin Sumlin. It doesn't matter now if it's Jimbo Fisher. They just fall apart in the second half of the year. So I'm not trusting them here in this situation. I would not be surprised at all to see Arky get the win in this one. I would probably lean that Texas A&M will probably get a close victory. But 12 points to me, gobble up the underdog on that one. Arkansas will cover that spread. And this game is going to be played in College Station, for what I understand. They have been playing in the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. I guess it really doesn't make any sense to have a neutral site game right now, right? I mean, you can't that because neutral site games all about getting the crowd, getting it 50-50 and all that stuff. So, I mean, why would you really do that? Even though I do think the Florida-Georgia game is going to be played in Jacksonville. So, that's strange. Anyway, Ohio State on the road at Penn State. Penn State is catching 12 at home. Ohio State looked great last week against Nebraska. I don't know where you could find a lot of fault in their game there. And Penn State's already kind of shot themselves in the foot with that loss last week. This is just, it's a must-win situation, and I just don't see how they can possibly get it done. They are down now to their third-string running back. With their quarterback, Clifford, I mean, he's okay. Kind of mistake-prone, but I don't know that he can overcome the loss. It's just all that talent at the running back position. And you're going to need all those weapons against Ohio State. And in my opinion, they just don't have the weaponry to get it done. 12 points. It's not a lot, and normally I would take Penn State as the home dog in this one, but just looking at how good Ohio State was last week, I just can't take them in this situation. So I'm going to roll with the road favorite in this game. Give me Ohio State to cover that 12 points against Penn State. Missouri on the road at Florida. Florida has not played in, 3 weeks now, I think it is, since they lost to Texas A&M, right? I mean, it has been forever since they played. It seems like they only resumed football activities this week, I believe, as far as on the field stuff, practice, maybe Monday, Tuesday. So you got to think they're going to be rusty. I mean, I just don't see any way that they can't. Missouri has pretty much been playing every week. They did have the game against Vanderbilt postponed, but Florida, I mean, just has had a lot of COVID issues. Dan Mullins had COVID. It's just been a mess there. You got to think that messes with the psyche of a team. I mean, all Missouri has been doing lately is just been winning. I mean, they have rolled up a nice victory over LSU in a game that kind of got into like a shootout type game. And then we saw them last week get the win over Kentucky in an impressive game with just, ball control and just, slowing their tempo down, the grinded out type game. So unique offensive style there from Eli Drinkwitz. I like what they're doing. Defensively, they're not great, but they're playing well enough to win ball games. So after an 0-2 start, they're sitting here now at 2-2 and look like they got a ton of momentum. They're going on the road. Our team, like I said, I think it's going to be rusty coming out. We know that Florida's defense is not good, and I don't know what they could have done in the past 3 weeks, especially not being on the field, to steer that ship the correct way. There's only so much you can do during Zoom sessions to fix your defense if you can't get out on the field and show some looks. So I am rolling with Mizzou here to cover against Florida. I would not be surprised at all if they get the win here. In fact, I considered sprinkling a little bit on the money line on this one myself, but I don't know. I just don't know if I can pull the trigger enough because I just don't know if I trust Mizzou enough yet at this point to be able to go into Gainesville and get that win. However, this series is played out. These teams are both virtually even at 4-4 since Mizzou's joined the SEC. So anything is possible there, but I do think they cover that number and against Florida, and an outright win is definitely possible. UNC on the road at Virginia. Virginia, 7-point underdog here. This one is one of those lines where it looks like they're just begging you to take UNC in this one, and I'm gonna have to tell you I'm gonna bite on that one too. UNC has looked pretty good as of late. Despite the fact they did have that loss at Florida State a couple weeks ago, they came back in the second half and should have won that game. They had a lot of drop passes there that cost them dearly in that one. And last week, they just dominated their rival, North Carolina State. They just thoroughly beat them down in a game that I had actually picked NC State to cover the spread on, which unfortunately I didn't get that one correct. But they were playing a second-string quarterback too. But UNC looked good there offensively. Virginia, they just seem to be struggling offensively this year without Bryce Perkins, and I knew they would. But the learning curve seems to be a little bit deeper than what I thought it would be with this new quarterback, Brennan Armstrong. UNC, we know what they can do. They've been banged up. They've had some injuries there in the secondary also. But I don't know that Virginia is going to be able to take advantage of it. Home spot for them. This is a little bit of a payback spot too for UNC. They lost to the same team last year in Chapel Hill. Some of these Las Vegas handicappers they'll tell you revenge spots don't matter. Some of them will say it's real important. Not sure, but I'm going to take Tar Heels here. I think they just have too much offensive firepower for Virginia, and I think they, over the course of 4 quarters, get this thing done and win it by more than a touchdown. Oklahoma at Texas Tech is our final game. Oklahoma is a 14 in the hook that they are laying in Lubbock against Texas Tech. Red Raiders, a team that we know can score some points. They've been pretty good at cashing tickets and covering spreads under Coach Wells. Oklahoma got a win last week against TCU, a pretty impressive win. So they're starting to look better, but Oklahoma has been very inconsistent, and this is just about the time when they should have a down game and not live up to expectations there. So, therefore, I am showing the underdogs some love here, too, in this one. And I will take Texas Tech on the road, or Texas Tech at home, as that underdog to cover against Oklahoma. So, there they are, guys, the picks against the spread for week number 9 of the college football season. Check back next week to see how I did. We'll recap these. We'll have the turd of the week, the boy you should have nailed it pick of the week, and the you should have known better pick of the week as well. My South Carolina Gamecocks aren't playing this Saturday, so I don't know what kind of content I'll be bringing to you Saturday on College Game Day, but I'm sure that I'll be able to find something for you to get entertained by. As always, if you enjoyed this, please hit it with a thumbs up. Leave a comment in the comment section below if you would like. Subscribe to Carolina Jackpot channel if you're not already subscribed. Georgia Southern just scored, and is this young man on the field? He is going to play guitar. Is this what we? He's strumming that thing to the funky beat. All of them dancing behind him. These gimmicks in college football, man, I love it. Oh boy. Anyway, make sure also this coming Tuesday, if you're over the age of 18 and you're registered, you exercise your right as an American, and you get out to your nearest polling place sometime before they close. You cast your vote for all of your local elections, your governor race if you happen to have one in your state, and of course the presidential race for the United States of America. Every vote counts. Make sure y'all get out there and do it. I'll see y'all later. Appreciate it. Peace. And I'm out. Go Gamecocks. Beat by a week. Fire Will Muschamp. Woo! Go Cox.